care, whether it's at home or in the hospital, should always be personalised. So it's always about having that information at hand as to how we support that person.
You're listening to the Care Podcast, brought to you by Unique Senior Care. We're here to share honest, practical conversations to help you navigate care. Today we're joined by Helena Hitchcox, our Director of Operations. Helena has over 40 years' experience of helping clients and families maximise their well-being at home. We're going to equip you with some practical advice, wisdom and reassurance. Thank you for joining us, Helena. So we're thinking today about how a sudden change can really kind of knock us off course, even if we've been coping quite well with a situation with a loved one or family member. So what kind of sudden changes sometimes happen?
Okay, so as we age, we can have health conditions that we're dealing with. We can experience frailty, which is very often what most people are dealing with before they have care in place, or any support of any kind. And with these, we see some very sudden and challenging experiences that people have, such as, a fall where somebody might fracture a hip and be admitted to hospital for surgery. Somebody could have a stroke, a sudden stroke. Somebody could have a heart attack. These are really, really awful experiences that families often have to support people with, and haven't got a clue of where to start once mum's in hospital and people start talking about care and what they might need when they come home. And it's really, really hard for people to navigate that situation, and it can build a lot of stress. One of the things that we can probably do early on, when we know that mum or dad might be deteriorating with their health condition, or we see that they're declining through just ageing and frailty, is to ensure that we put power of attorney in place. It's something obviously you can talk to your parents about, to ensure it's something that they want to do, so that you then have the power and ability to act on their behalf with any care decisions that might come after a serious or significant event like a stroke that may change somebody's cognitive ability.
Yeah, and there's lots of good information about that on the government website, for example.
That's right, yeah. There's lots of information out there on power of attorney and how you go about doing that. So, as you say, government websites and etc. So, so that's one of the things that we can do to prepare. We've talked in previous episodes how low-level social support can support people in a preventative way. So if somebody's got a condition that means that they don't get out as much, or they spend a lot of time alone, this can sometimes exacerbate people's health decline. So people very often choose to put low-level support in place, such as going out to visit a memory cafe, or join a club of some kind, or have a companionship carer in place. And I think very often when people have got those levels of support in place already, knowing that when something significant might happen, that they've got that person, that carer, or that group, or that memory cafe where you have experts in place, you've got somebody to go to where you can say, okay, what do I do next? Help me navigate through, this process of mum being in hospital and their potential discharge, for example. So it's really important, as we said before, to have that support network in place as you see mum ageing or dad ageing and, their potential decline.
And then if you did need more help later, rather than having to start from scratch at a crisis point, you've already got that structure. You've built the relationships maybe, and it's a matter of then perhaps talking to those organisations about what do we do now? Can we increase the support? Or
that's it. So, we see people have low level support in place where, people will just go out with a companion carer, getting out and about, doing the things that they enjoy. But those carers are also trained to support people in their homes with more regulated care, such as personal care and medication and nutrition and hydration support. And if somebody has a significant event, a sudden illness, very often they leave hospital needing that level of care. So they've already built that relationship with that organisation and with that carer or companion, and they can very often continue with, they've got that trusted person or that trusted group in place to carry on to support that person through the next sort of part of their journey, and hopefully on the road to recovery.
And do sometimes people get extra support as they're coming home from hospital provided for them?
Yes, there are a number of pathways, very often based on what you've been admitted to hospital with, whether it's a hip fracture or something like that. You'll come out of hospital with a care pathway where a care organisation will come out and you'll get NHS funded care for up to 6 weeks, to very often help people get back on track so that they become independent again after that support, or to assess their baseline of the support they might need in the future.
And would you have to take the company that's offered you by the NHS, or would you have any
No. The pathway that people are on, it is the care organisation work with the NHS to provide that up to 6 weeks, and after that somebody can choose to stay with that care company, or they could choose any other care company they want. There's no obligation to stay with them once that funding's stopped.
Anything in the home environment, for example, that we might be able to change so that if our relative did suddenly become a lot more frail, that might be helpful?
We've talked in previous episodes about when people are becoming more frail, they may be at risk of falls, that kind of thing, looking at aids and adaptations in the homes, such as grab rails, accessible showers, kitchen equipment, that kind of thing, to support people to continue to live independently. There's so many small aids and adaptations out there, such as things to help you even open a tin can or a jar, that kind of thing, that very often can be it's a choice between them using the equipment or not being able to open the tin and not eating. So it's really important that people find out what's out there to support that independence as long as they can before that significant health change might come.
Have you got any practical advice about what we might be able to have in place should a sudden change or emergency happen?
I think it's really important to have those open discussions with your family member about advanced care planning and what people want for their future, if their health changes significantly, how they want to be looked after, what things they might need, what's important to them. But there are also simple things like always ensuring that your most up-to-date prescription list is available to take with you, any allergies that you might have, any specific things that you need for your conditions and how you like things done. Care, whether it's at home or in the hospital, should always be personalised. So it's always about having that information at hand as to how we support that person.
And some people have hospital passports, don't they, as well? So, for example, for learning disability, or if they have a catheter, so there might be a specific document that they need to have ready
definitely.
as well.
Definitely. As you said, people with learning disabilities have that, and it's all about them as a person, what they need, what they like, how they like to be communicated with. And communication is obviously really important, particularly with older people as well, where they might have hearing loss. So all those kind of things to ensure that a care or health plan can be built around that person as easy as possible.
Yeah. And it might be as simple as checking with the paramedics, which hospital are they taking that person to, or, how are you going to get there if you're going with your relative so you don't get stranded. Some of the things that in a crisis we might forget.
That's it. You don't think about them, do you? And we know how busy that the health service are these days, and we could end up at a hospital that's not nearby. So it's really important to have that communication and ensure, as I say, that all those significant documents, if you do have a catheter passport or a hospital passport of any kind, that we have that at hand, list of medications and preferred communication methods, that kind of thing.
Brilliant. So hopefully, even though we can't plan for sudden changes or emergencies, at least we can have ourselves better equipped.
That's it. We can do things in advance to prepare for that, to make things easier, because these sudden changes can be very difficult. So that as much as you can do beforehand in preparation for is going to help you on that journey.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Jo.
And thank you to everyone for listening. We hope that this episode has given you some confidence, practical advice and reassurance in navigating your own care journey. I've been Jo Cleary, your host at the Care Podcast. We hope that you'll join us next time.